Hello, let's do Wordle for Thursday, October 23rd. We'll give our members wheel a spin and see what we're starting with today. Oh, Archie Studies suggests Daddy. All right, well, this is a very strong start. I'll explain why once we see the result. All right, so we learned that there's... I was expecting to get all gray Ds, but what we learned is that there is exactly one D. There's not two Ds, and there's also not three Ds. This is actually a very lucky answer to get for starting with Daddy. And we don't end in Y. So, okay, we're going to start with D, and then we're going to use common letters. The common consonants left, I mean, most of them, are yes. The common consonants left are yes. R-S-T-L-N. So... I thought of Dusty, but that ends in Y. S-T-R-N, maybe an N, or L, maybe an N. We could do a DR word for sure. Drink came to mind. Drunk. I'd like to get an E if possible. Dress, but repeating that S. Who repeats a letter in a guess like this early? Why would anyone do that? Drill repeats the L. Maybe ending in E would be better. And then drone. I think drone is great. Let's do that. Okay, when that R turned green, I was like, wait, did I just get in two? But I've learned not to celebrate early with these things. DR, though. It's not drink, so at least... imagine if it was. That would have been sad to not guess it. It could be DRI. It could be DRU. Those are basically our choices. Looking at DRI first, drips isn't going to be the answer. So even though drips is not a plural, it's a third person conjugation of to drip, third person verb. The answers never have a word ending in S. That is still a word if you remove the S. So something to keep in mind. So if you're going to guess one of those, it's fine to guess them. It's just not going to be the answer. Don't guess it, don't guess six. Drill is still possible. I wonder if at this point that's a good guess. Because I mean, there's a lot of consonants left, but I'm just not seeing words. Drum somehow? I mean, drums is plural. Also, irregular plurals are fair game. It's really just ending in S that they got rid of. Like fungi could be the answer. Anyway. You know what? I'm going to guess drill. I can't think of anything else. Yeah, that was the answer. Okay. Drill in 3. Nice. I did think about guessing drill earlier, but I wasn't going to do a double letter. Like, who does double letters in early guesses? That's just a waste of letter slots. All right. Let's check with the bot. I'm curious what else was left. Before I do that, I had a request to go over the settings and what they actually mean. So, I mean, the top here is pretty self-explanatory. You're setting up the game you're playing. So you can leave those alone if you're analyzing Wordle. So there's a bunch of answer lists. I'm going to go over what all of... Sorry, not answer lists. There's a bunch of lists of words. This list and this set of lists are the same possible lists of words. So we're picking a list of words that could be the answer, and we're picking a list of words that it's willing to guess in its analysis. So... what are these? I guess I'll go top to bottom. The filtered New York Times Wordlebot answers. So the Wordlebot, the official New York Times Wordlebot, has a list of words that it thinks could be the answer. And it also has a probability assigned to them. The ones ending in ED are on its list, but have a probability of like less than 0.1% or something like that. It's a very, very low probability. Those are the regular past tense words, EDs. So that this list excludes those because those just have never been the answer and won't be unless New York Times changes their completely changes how they do things. So this is basically, if you want to have the best chance of having a correct answer list, this is probably it. For the New York Times Wordle. All New York Times Wordlebot answers includes those ED words that it has, even though they're very low probability. We also have New York Times Wordlebot guesses. These are words that the Wordlebot is willing to guess, which is not all words, because I guess they just, it makes sense. They they don't want to guess words that are so obscure that it's like, how would I have thought to guess that word? Why is, when you're talking about the optimal solve, if you're trying to help humans, making the human recognize that they could guess some really strange, obscure words isn't cool. So that's what that list is. New York Times Wordle guesses. This is literally anything you can guess in the New York Times version of Wordle. When I say that, because there's a ton of Wordle clones out there, and they all cloned Wordle generally when Wordle was extremely hype and huge, and that was before the New York Times bought it. And it had a word list that was basically based on Scrabble. And when the New York Times bought it, at some point afterwards, they actually added about 1,000 new words that you could guess. And so this is that updated guess list. This is everything that you could possibly guess in Wordle. Original Wordle answers. There was an original answer list of these exact words are the list of words that will eventually be the answer in the original implementation of Wordle. That is often the answer list used by Wordle clones like Wordle Unlimited, as well as a bunch of variants like Symbol, like Fibble. Well, Fibble uses an expanded list, but some of the variants just copied Wordle's answer list. Most likely answers. This was created by Yuval, who wrote the original bot. So he basically just, did some process on his own to kind of create his own word list of likely answers. It's really not all that accurate. You'd much rather use the filtered one up here. All possible answers. All reasonable words as possible solutions. So these are from the original bot. And then old bot guesses, consider all guessable words from the original bot dictionary. So old bot, so I'm not sure what these three are. These are from the original bot. These are the improved lists. So my recommendation for the answer list is to use the filtered New York Times Wordle bot answers. All right. Now for guesses, this is what it's willing to guess, which is an expanded list from what could be the answer, because sometimes you want to guess something that won't be the answer, but is a strategic choice to reduce your average guesses. This checkbox will show all accepted words, anything that is a word, in the unlikely list. So you can at least browse those to see what's going on there. But this list will then be used for the actual analysis and guesses. It reduces what words it considers. So you can use the filtered answers, or using the filtered answer list or the same list as up here would be simulating playing like ultra mode, where you only want to consider answers in your guess. But there is an ultra setting anyway. So these lists are the same. I recommend using the New York Times Wordlebot guesses, which are what the New York Times Wordlebot itself is willing to guess. And it tends to be a pretty nice word list for like, okay, I know what that word is, or it's at least something that I could have known what it is, as opposed to like using all possible New York Times Wordle guesses during the analysis. What we found is, especially in certain situations, like after guessing a do, it would just pick some really random, obscure word to guess, and it just wasn't fun for the analysis. But if you want to be absolutely optimal, choose this one. If you want it to be kind of reasonable things, choose this one. All right, so that's the settings. And then at the very bottom, we have an I'm feeling lucky. So there's situations where you might have an average number of guesses left of 2 if you do a filler, and an average number of guesses left of 2 if you actually go for one of the answers. This I'm feeling lucky will filter those to the top. So of all the equal ones that are tied for first, it'll move to the top the ones that could still be, that are actually still possible answers, to kind of suggest going for one of those first, because you want to gamble it, because you might get it in the next guess if you're lucky. All right. And it doesn't affect the average. Cool. So we're in hard mode. Our answer is drill. And I started with daddy. All right. There were only 62 answers left. So daddy was a really good start today. Possibly better than Saleh. We'll see. Or tails. It would go with diner. I went with drone, which is second. Diner is slightly better. After drone, it was drift or drill. Oh, probably good thing I didn't think of drift, because I might have gone for that. All right, so I won a 50-50. There was also dribs, drips, drubs, drugs, and drums. All right, it would have gone for diner. And then it's down to drift, drill, or droit. Is that like similar to adroit? I wonder. So it's got a 1 and 3 to get it in 3. And notice that this, I guess, no, that's not true. These yellow ones mean that it's a hard mode filler. Can't be the answer. Anyway, so it's going to go something like this. It could get it in 3, though. All right, from Tails, we have 118 answers left. So, yeah. Daddy was a better start than Tails, obviously. It's going to go for could, and then dimly or drill. So there's only 4 answers left. Dimly, drill, dryly, idle. It says guess one of them, and if you're lucky, great. If not, it's the next one. All right. We're going to also look at steel. Ooh, we get the L at the end, green. So it might go for, it says grill is slightly better than drill, so it goes for that. And now we're in the rill trap, drill, frill, krill. So it could potentially get it in 5, but that's the worst case. It could get it in 3, best case, 3 to 5. All right, adieu. Yeah, we have the D, so adieu starters are happy. It's going to go doily here to try that. And then from doily, it's only drill. So nice 3 from adieu. All right. Audio also gets the D. It's going to go for drift, and then dried, and then maybe drink before drill. It's a 50-50 there. All right. And then we're going to try trace, which tries to get it in 2. I don't think it will today. Grind, and then drill. It gets it in 3 at least. And then place is what the official bot starts with. So here, guilds is the best. It's doing a filler, guilds. Then from there, we've got build, doily, drill, idle, and lurid. And it says guess doily, drill, or idle. Those get the answer. So gonna get it in 3 or 4. All right, let's check with the official bot, see how people did today. There is the rill trap, so maybe we have a slightly lower solve rate in hard mode, but probably not bad. L is very common to get early. I had 97 skill, that's pretty good. 74 luck, yeah. 3 is impressive, okay. Daddy was skill 22, but luck 84. Bold choice, not what I've picked, but I admire less than 0.1% players today opened with Daddy. And today it was a lucky choice. You've eliminated all but 62 words in the dictionary. Yeah. Drone would have been one of my top picks. Diner was its pick. Is Diner what also the bot did? It was something similar, if not Diner. Only 2 remaining words, drift, drill, and I got lucky on drill. 99 skill though. All right. It goes place Dills drill. It goes that double L. Interesting. Is Dills on our list here? Dills. No, this bot does not like Dills. It thinks that they're... so here's the issue. If we guess Dills, it loses on the Ollie trap. So if we change our answer to Molly, it's going to lose on Dills. So we get that double L there. And look at this. We have a 77.78% solve rate. So we go straight into the Ollie trap, unfortunately. And then we go golly. And then we go holly. And then we go jolly. And now we've lost. So that's the problem with Dills. And that's why this bot is better than this bot. All right. I think this bot loses on the Ollie trap then. I think it must. Because place Dills will be the follow-up. All right. 0.2% of people starting with drill. Very lucky. 99.2% solve rate. So we have a 0.8% fail rate. And we're failing on frill, grill, krill, brill, trill. Interesting. Okay. Well, that is Wordle. Hope you enjoyed it. There is the New York Times games, which you can watch just by waiting till the end of the video and clicking on it. There's also a pinned comment below with all of the games I played today. And if you enjoyed this, why not leave a like, subscribe, and a kind comment below.